Welcome to the Scrum.org Community Podcast, a podcast from the home of Scrum. In this podcast, we feature professional Scrum trainers and other Scrum practitioners sharing their stories and experiences to help learn from the experience of others. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello and welcome to the Scrum.org Community Podcast. My name's Dave West, CEO here at Scrum.org, and I am your host for today's podcast. This episode is actually part of a series of interviews of participants in the Google's Project Management Certificate Program. You may know it as Grow with Google back in the day. It's changed its title to focus on the outcomes that it's achieving. And as some of you may know, Scrum.org has been part of this program. Now, I'm very lucky, very fortunate to have Nicole Christensen with us today, who's been part of this program, who's going to be sharing some of her experiences. Nicole, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here, share my story, and help others make the journey.
Great. Yeah, the biggest challenge for today is going to be keeping this podcast to 15, 20 minutes. I had lots to talk to you about, or have lots to talk to you about. So it's great. Now, for the people that don't know, the Google Project Management Certificate helps people prepare for jobs in the high growth field of project management. And let's be honest, delivering value in this knowledge work world, this data centric world is definitely, there's a lot of opportunity around ensuring that that value is delivered. The certificate dives deep into project management, software, tools, templates, all that kind of stuff. But it has an emphasis on Scrum and agility. Obviously, from Google, you'd expect that being one of the key contributors to the digital age, as it were. And Scrum.org collaborated with Google to bring Scrum and Agile expertise to that program and help prepare for the PSM1. Very boring there, but the certification just to demonstrate the knowledge, as it were. So excited to get going. So Nicole, I guess before we start, for our audience, it would be really useful for them to know who you are. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, so I actually began my career in the educational field as a high school English teacher. To be honest, when I started thinking about what I wanted to do when I grow up, I didn't even know that this was an option. I wanted to really help others. That's really important to me and my family values. And so that's why I started with teaching. And through the years, made my way over to the technology side of teaching as I began teaching at an online program in 2010, which brought me to Pearson at one point, working for Pearson Online and Blended Learning at the time. And that's, again, I had an amazing experience there and really wanted to live that day in and day out. So that brought me to this Google certificate program.
So the reason why you did the program, because you'd already got lots of knowledge, you'd worked at Pearson, they do Scrum. Pearson's huge, they do everything, but so why did you decide to do the actual program at Google?
Yeah, so trying to translate the skills and the knowledge that I had from being a high school English teacher into an organization that was looking for project manager or product professional, trying to translate that information is actually really challenging because a lot of people struggle in order to find those connections. So how would you take basically planning lessons for a class, and how would you translate that to being able to put together a project, charter, and how could you put together the tasks that one would complete in, honestly, that's what teachers do day in and day out, is they do it on a scale of, for 40 different individuals, and it's all got to be individualized. But trying to be able to show that in a way that organizations were looking for is really what what that challenge was and showing them that you can do so in an agile manner. So how do we rethink the way that we're doing things and help organizations change? So the whole change management process as well.
So in a nutshell, the program really helped you take those skills that you've developed over a few years. Don't want to say many years because that makes you sound
Yes.
awfully old, and you're really not. But over those years, those skills that you applied in education, working with all these different skills, then working at Pearson, and really be able to apply those skills in the context, this sort of more professional, dare I say, professional context, or this project management professional kind of context.
Yeah. And, finding a way in order to do that others can see and can translate to their own organization. So through this program, I was able to put together a portfolio where I was able to do both a Google version, and when I was applying for different positions, having that linked directly into my resume made a big difference, because people were able to go in and see what I could do prior to seeing me or talking to me during an interview. So they were able to see that I understood the tools, that, rather than just in an interview going, oh yeah, I know how to use that program. They were actually able to see that and were able to dive into that and ask me questions about how, I went through the process of completing specific tasks as a part of the program.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that was one of the things that I was really excited from looking in and looking at how we participate with the program, that ability to provide that demonstratable skill, that, this is how we do it, that portfolio, as you called it, is crucial and unique. I was surprised that it isn't, I guess artists carry around, and models, don't they carry around like these big things in New York City? I think I've seen that on the train there, etc. But I've never seen that for knowledge workers. So it was pretty unique and interesting. So tell me a little bit about the benefits that you've obviously the biggest benefit maybe is, and you've got a fabulous job working on a product that totally connects all your past with your future and is changing the world. So tell us a little bit about that benefit and anything else that you got out of this program.
Yeah, absolutely. So after going through this program and preparing for my PSM, I was able to actually switch careers. And I am excited to now be a product owner of a company. Yay, I know. A product owner for a company called Readable English that takes the way in which we attempt to learn how to read, and using a glyph markup, it makes the English language phonetic. So a lot of times, students that struggle with reading, as I saw when I was teaching high school, and I have seniors that couldn't read what I was asked to have them read. So this really takes away all of the rules and the cognitive load, all the pieces that happen within our brain, and connects things in a very different way that helps us to map it easier. So yes, being able to take my experience as a teacher watching students struggle in literacy, and to now be a product owner where I get to talk with teachers and superintendents of districts, and I'm able to find ways to make our organization and our product even better for them in an agile manner has been amazing. So this whole transformation I get to do now, something I never knew existed, and I absolutely love it. It's a great change. Of course, I will tell you, if anyone has ever taken a look at the pay that teachers earn, right? I mean, that's one of the huge benefits of this is, I now make a lot more than what I was making teaching high school. And so that, of course, is a benefit, but it's also, rather than just helping the 40 kids that were in my class, I'm now helping entire districts worth of students and states worth of students. And so it's grown that desire, that passion for kids. It's just exploded.
Well, it's certainly increased the impact, and it's great that your compensation supports that. And we could get into a long conversation about why we should pay our teachers more, but let's not go there today. That isn't our purview. So going back to the program a little bit, what did you enjoy the most during the program? What did you, I mean, you fitted this round your job, your life, your family, your kids, your dogs. So what did you enjoy the most?
I loved that the projects made sense. It was real world experience. So when we're putting together a portfolio, right, it's all of the projects are built around fictitious organizations, but the activities, the things that we do in order to demonstrate that knowledge are real world activities. So it is taking a moment in order to build out tickets in Jira, it's, or Asana, or, learning that the tools that we use every single day and putting that into practice. So there's the organizations and the components of it. I also loved that in the midst of the pandemic, they switched and gave us that agile experience. So, now we're in a pandemic, and our fictitious organization that used to bring plants to a physical office, people are at home. So now we're going to switch, and we're going to turn it into a place where people order plants for their home. So having that real world application has allowed me to now think of my my current circumstance and ways that I can bring about that same change.
That is awesome. And the pandemic obviously was horrible in so many ways, but at least we can learn something from it, and something positive can come from it. And I think that is truly awesome. So Nick, done a great job taking us through your journey and destination, which has been fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about Scrum. Scrum.org here, CEO of Scrum.org. So I'm a little bit interested in Scrum. What's your experience with Scrum? And also, you started using it, I understand from our conversation earlier, when you did some work at Pearson on this Tiger team, and that was probably your first moment. So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us your journey to Scrum.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the opportunities that I had while at Pearson was a voluntary opportunity. And we were trying to help different parts of the organization work in a more agile manner. And so through the use of Tiger teams, which if anyone wants to learn more about them, I suggest looking them up, but it was all about sending in people from many different backgrounds, many different experiences, and they would go ahead and try and, figure out ways to do things. So as a team, the individuals that I worked with were people in the product area within the global Pearson. There were people that were in the higher ed portion of Pearson. So I've got people in all different countries all across the globe, and we are coming together in a matter of 2 weeks. We had our sponsors that came to us and said, here's our problem. We had 2 weeks in order to do our research as a team, in order to develop as a team, and then at the end of 2 weeks, we had to present to the then CEO of Pearson, John Fallon, what we found and what our recommendations were for the organization to be able to adapt and change and move forward. That process was intense, but it showed me a glimpse into this side of the world and the way that we can work in Scrum, and the way that we can connect regularly. And when we find things aren't working, change and adapt. So how do we inspect what we're doing each day? How do we connect what we did yesterday with what we're doing tomorrow? And fixing things fast. So, failing fast and fixing and moving ahead. So it was a great experience to be able to try that, so much that is really kind of the point where I looked at making this change. I fell in love with the intensity. I fell in love with the capability of working with people all around the globe. I now, my development team is in Pakistan. We have individuals from all different countries. Those of us in the US work across all time zones, but we're all moving in the same direction. And, to be able to be a part of that was something incredibly unique. And to be in an organization that is open to having those tough conversations, I think was huge to my being able to move.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. Yeah, the time zones can be a little challenging after a while. But Scrum does, at least it makes everything, even the pain, a lot more visible, which is both a blessing and a curse maybe sometimes. So you've completed the program and the PSM certification, etc. How did the program help you around PSM1? It's a popular certification. A lot of people around the world, it demonstrates your proficiency. I'm interested in how it helped.
Yeah, going through that program really taught me a lot of the terminology, right? So having the correct terminology, the correct frame of reference, and again, being able to see it in practice, to put that practical application along with the questions that were being asked. So when taking a look at any of the, the practice exams, or even any of the resources that are available in order to dive into it a little bit more, it brings that knowledge in a way where it's kind of deeper embedded. So it allowed me to see how that gets used. And it allowed me to very quickly recall the information that was necessary. So it wasn't just trying to, memorize things, but it allowed the application. So that way, when I took the exam, I went, oh, of course, that's what the answer is, because, we do that on a regular basis, so being able to have that frame of reference.
Yeah, I think the one thing that struck us about the whole program was this practical, like you talked about, the flower shop or the flower organization.
Yeah.
That sort of practical use of the mindset, and that then reinforced it, which hopefully then the test just brought out, so you got this test that you could pass and demonstrate. I think that's crucial. Okay, well, I guess the final question, I mean, I have to ask this, maybe to myself more than anything, what's next? I mean, I'm super excited about Nicole changing the world of readable English, and even for the Americans who try English every day. But I'm really excited about your mission. But what's next on your journey around Scrum and professional development?
Yeah, so I'm currently studying for the PSMPO. So I'm working on that and really wanting to now apply, again, that foundation to the next level. So now, as a product owner, how do I continue in order to support my organization as we grow and as we change? So I'm actually bringing Scrum to my organization. So as far as I know, other than our developer in Pakistan, I'm the only one that has the experience. So each day, as a part of our daily stand-up, I actually bring in a little snippet. So over time, the team will be able to see and learn the same practices. So why are we doing a daily stand-up? How that is going to save in terms of waste and those kinds of things. So, bringing about those same practices. I'm excited in order to continue to grow and develop professionally and learn even more about the process, because again, it's definitely a process. You don't get to a point where you feel like, we got this now. It is kind of that regular development. So I'm practicing for my test. I take a little bit of time each Friday. I put some professional development time on my calendar and take and work on that. So as long as helping my organization, I also need to make sure that I'm able to continue to grow. And honestly, I see myself continuing on through as far as I can go. So
that sounds awesome. It's great that the Google Project Management Certificate Program provided that foundation for you to sort of like build on. You now know where the resources are. You now know you've even got access to the CEO of Scrum.org to help you. Hey, that's I'm not sure how helpful I'll be, but I know people that are very helpful. So which is great. So Nicole, thank you so much for taking the time today. I know you're certainly busy. You got a lot on. So taking this time out to share with our listeners a little bit about the journey that you went through. It's a very inspiring journey and something that I'm so excited that we at Scrum.org could help just a very tiny bit. Obviously, the work that Google are doing on this this program is amazing, and I love to hear more about it. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's like I said, it's made a huge difference in my life and in my family's life. So thank you.
Brilliant. So this has been Dave West here on the Scrum.org Community Podcast, talking a little bit about how the Google Career Certificate Program and project management can help, and how we've actually the relationship that we have with that program. So thank you for listening today. Hopefully this has inspired you if you're thinking or just debating whether to join this program and have a go at it. Hopefully it's inspired you to become part of this program and help with people like Nicole change the world every day. Thank you, everybody.